Hello and welcome to the Faded Wildflower Crochet. My name is Rachel. Now I have to tell you right off the bat that today's video is not going to be my normal cozy style where I do little montages and walk you through all the steps. It started off that way, but basically everything that could go wrong with this kit did go wrong. And I thought about scrapping this video entirely, but then I made a post on my community tab, and a lot of you guys were encouraging me to make this video anyway, even if it wasn't in my normal style. So instead of doing a video in my normal style, I'm going to be sitting right here in my chair and chronicling this whole process of everything that went wrong with this kit. And I will be inserting some clips along the way. But it's basically going to be me just ranting for however many minutes straight. So if that sounds good, then let's go ahead and get started. So you guys know, if you've been watching my channel, that I like to review kits. And I like to review them from all different types of brands, from different skill levels. And I really wanted to try a beginner kit because I feel like a lot of the kits I've been doing recently have been intermediate kits. And so I found this beginner kit on Amazon. It is called Crochet Box. That's the name of the brand. And I thought it was really cute, although a lot of the items kind of looked like dupes of the Woobles. But I found this one that is this cute little set of Christmas finger puppets. I thought it was adorable. And so I ordered it for $29.99. Now, right now, as I'm recording, I believe these are on sale for like $11.99. I don't really know if this is a Black Friday thing or if they lowered the price in general because it doesn't show that it's on sale. It just shows that the regular price now is $11.99. And so I thought at first, am I missing something? But I went back and checked in my Amazon records and I did pay $29.99 for this kit. So I did know from the listing that this was going to be made with the same type of yarn that the Woobles kits come with. Now, at that point, I hadn't tried the Woobles yarn yet, but I did try it in this video right here. And you guys know if you watch that video, it's not my favorite type of yarn, but it's not the worst either. And I decided to give this a try. And I also thought that this would be the perfect gift for my nieces and nephews, a little set of finger puppets. Are you kidding me? And so I ordered it and it came in the mail. And I will say, when I opened it up, the packaging was all really, really nice. And so I was super excited about starting this. So the first thing that I noticed upon opening the kit was that this did not come with safety eyes. Now, it says on the listing, safety eyes, and it says on the back of the box, safety eyes. This did not come with safety eyes. This came with just little beads that you have to glue on. And it did come with a glue stick. Now, I do not own a hot glue gun, nor do I like to glue pieces onto my crochet projects. That's just personal preference, but especially if I'm going to give an item to a kit, I'm definitely not gluing any parts on it. So that was disappointing right off the bat. Now, I did realize that my thinking was a little bit flawed here because these are puppets, so there's no stuffing inside. You can't close up the piece. So if you put your finger inside, you're going to feel the other side of the safety eye. So I realized that maybe it's just this kit that comes with these type of eyes and the rest of them come with actual safety eyes. I'm not sure, but I thought maybe they would have some other option. But no, just these beads that you have to glue on. And you're also supposed to glue on these little, I think they call them fuzz balls in the listing. But like I said, don't have a hot glue gun. So I thought, that's okay. We'll just embroider the eyes on. I'm going to, reserve my judgment about this kit. Now, I did go back and look at the listing just to make sure. And it does say safety eyes in the listing. And I don't know about you, but when I think of safety eyes, I think of the little eyes with the backing that you put, and then it stays in place. I don't think of little beads you have to glue on. Now, it did show in the photo that it came with a glue stick, so that should have been a red flag for me. I guess I missed that part when I was looking it over, but I decided, I'll just embroider some eyes on. That's okay. We'll press on. Now, this kit did come with an ergonomic crochet hook, which we will talk about in a moment, and it also came with both a plastic and metal yarn needle for some reason. This kit also came with a booklet of all of the beginner basics. And then it came with a booklet with the pattern for the finger puppets. And something that I actually liked about this kit right off the bat was that you could scan the QR codes inside of the booklet, and one would take you to the beginner basics, and then one would take you to the video tutorial of this finger puppet pattern. And on that link as well, you could also access a PDF of the same pattern. And I thought that this was really nice. It gives you a lot of different options for how to access this pattern. But a problem that I ran into is when I scan the QR code, you are then supposed to put in a password, which they give you in the booklet. And I'm not going to tell you what the misspelling was, but the word was supposed to be knuckles, but the word was misspelled. And so I kept entering in the word knuckles spelled correctly, and it kept telling me that wasn't the right password. And I was like, oh no. And then I looked closer at it and it was just misspelled, but the misspelled version of the word knuckles was the password. I want to tread really lightly here because it's very obvious as you get into the website and you watch the videos and you look through the pattern that English is not the people who created this kit's first language. And there's nothing wrong with that, obviously. But the problem is some of these things get lost in translation. So I do feel like it could have done with another round of edits. But we will get back to that in a little bit. So I did get onto the video just to check it out briefly. You guys know if you watch my channel that I'm not much of a video tutorial kind of person. I prefer a written pattern. But for the sake of the video, I wanted to go through the videos and check them out. So I just went through briefly the first little section. And something I did notice was that instead of having it typed up on the screen, having the pattern typed up, they had it written and just in the frame, like on a piece of paper, which, you know, it was a little bit silly, but like not the worst thing ever. I could forgive them if that was the only problem with the video. There were more problems, but we'll get to that later. So it was finally time to get to the crocheting. Or so I thought. So this kit comes with the first round done for you, which I think is a thing that the Woobles do, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't actually tried a Woobles kit before, but I've heard that they come with the first round done for you. So that is the way this one was done. So I go to pull it out and start crocheting when I noticed that this yarn was in a hank and not a skein. So everything got all tangled up. So I ended up having to take out that first round that was done for me and wrap it up into a ball. So as I was unrolling this, I noticed that there was in fact a factory knot in the yarn, which was also pretty disappointing. Then I took a look at the rest of the yarn and most of it was also in hanks, except for one that was in a skein. Not sure why. I thought that this was really disappointing, especially if this kit is meant for beginners and you have this first round done for them and you're supposed to start on it. And then if it's in a hank, it's just going to get all tangled up and they're going to think they did something wrong, but they didn't do anything wrong. The company should have started this in a ball or a cake or a skein and not a hank. So finally, I started on the crocheting. And the first thing I noticed with the crochet hook was that the handle, the little grip part of it, was not cut out very well. There was a little flap that was hanging off and it was very uncomfortable to the hands. Now, I am very sensitive to this kind of thing. You guys know this about me, but I feel like this would have been uncomfortable for basically anyone because it just wasn't cut out very well. So the seams were very obvious. Now, my solution for this is always to just put some pencil grips on there to make it nice and comfy. But I will say that the hook part itself was actually really nice. So I was disappointed that the grip was uncomfortable because the hook portion of it was actually probably the best hook that we've gotten in a kit so far. It felt very similar to a clover hook in my opinion. Now crocheting with this yarn was surprisingly not so bad. Now a lot of people were saying in the comments of my Woobles yarn video that with this type of yarn, you're actually not supposed to pull your stitches really tight, which I'm very used to doing. You're supposed to pull them a little bit looser, and that way the stitches will actually look more even than if you try to pull them, which seems counterintuitive, but I decided to try it out and you guys were right. So it wasn't perfect, but I do feel like the stitches looked all right, and it was much easier to do this way. So what I noticed as I finished the reindeer's little body was that it is way too big. Let me show you this. This takes up 2 of my fingers. Now, I know I'm a small adult, but I am an adult. So there's no way that this size would fit a child. And that was the point of me making this kit, was to gift it to my nieces and nephews. And I feel like the point of, a lot of people making this kit would be to gift it to a child, but this is just way too big. Now you may be saying, Rachel, your stitches were looser. That could be why. But then if I stitched it tighter, then that could mean the gaps would be more obvious. And so it feels like I really could not win with this yarn. But I pressed on, and the next part of the instructions said to make the antlers in the color coffee. The only problem, I did not get a yarn in the color coffee. Now I got the khaki color that was meant for the reindeer. Oh, you can see my mistake, which I will talk about in a little bit. The khaki color for the reindeer. We got this brown color, which is meant for the gingerbread, which they call later on in the instructions brown or light brown or something like that. And then we got black, but we did not get coffee. And you can see in the photos that the antlers in the sample photo are made with a darker brown coffee color, as well as the bottom of the Christmas tree. But we did not get this color of yarn in the kit. Now, I even went and looked on the listing, and they don't include that color there either. So I'm not really sure what happened there. But I persisted, and I just used the color for the gingerbread, hoping that I would have enough when it came to making the gingerbread. Spoiler alert, I did not get that far. But as I was trying to make the antlers, I noticed that the instructions were really confusing. Let me just read them to you. Slip knot, 10 chain, 4 slip stitch from second chain, from hook 3 chain. I was like, what? If that sounds like nonsense, it is. And I feel like a lot of it is like backwards. It's very confusing. So I thought this is going to be the perfect opportunity for me to get onto the video and watch that section and see if they explain it a little bit better. The first thing I noticed though, when I got on there, is that they were definitely having some technical difficulties on this video. So it sounds like what they tried to do is do an AI voiceover for the instructions, which, you know, is fine. But the problem is they forgot to delete the original audio from the track. So you hear the person crocheting talking, then you also hear the AI voice. And so sometimes they're like echoing each other or they're overlapping. It is a mess. Now, I thought maybe something was wrong with my computer when I first listened to it. I was like, do I have 2 videos playing at once? But no, they just forgot to delete that original audio or mute that original audio. And so it was very impossible to try to understand what was going on. I got there, but I still feel like the antlers look really wonky. And another thing that I noticed about the video is she does show the crocheting pretty well, but then when it comes to the sewing, it was like a little bit out of frame and a little bit wonky. I'm not going to show you any of the video just because I don't want to be disrespectful of these people's copyright and all of that. But it was, you know, just not the easiest to see what she was doing when it came to the sewing. And she doesn't give very specific instructions. Although in the written instructions, it does say which round to sew it on. So that is nice. But something that she did in the video was to knot the 2 ends of the yarn and then push them into her work. So I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to do as well. I don't really love that method, especially because, again, you're going to be putting your finger in there and you're just going to feel all the little knots in there. As you can see right here, and I will do a close-up of this, I tried to, oh, are you coming to say hi? You can't see her because she's down here, but Lily is saying hi. I will insert a clip of her as always. So as I was saying, I did try to knot this yarn and then kind of push it back into my work. But the problem was with this yarn is when I tried to knot it and then put it into my work, the more I was trying to put it in, the more this yarn kept falling apart. It was fraying, the batting in the center was coming out, and I just had the hardest time. I still haven't been able to get this knot into my work, and that could just be a me problem. But the more I'm trying to push it in there, the more the yarn is falling apart, and I'm not even really sure what to do at this point. So that was basically my final straw when it came to this kit. So yeah, after all of that effort and all of the struggles that I went through, I have this to show for it, and there's just no way that I could ever gift this to anyone, and I was not going to put myself through making 4 more of these. And I think it was compounded by the fact that this is my last week of making custom orders for my shop, so I'm kind of in this crunch time, and I was, like I said, going to completely scrap this video. But I do feel like it is important for me to talk about this. I did end up looking through the rest of the booklet to see if there were some more glaring errors. And I did notice that they spell the word crochet wrong multiple times, but they spell it right in other places. They spell the word stitches wrong, but spell it right in other places. There were a few other of the instructions that were a little bit confusing. I didn't watch any more of the video because that one clip made me want to die of secondhand embarrassment. So I wasn't going to put myself through that again. But like I said, the video was already, a little bit low budget as it was. But like I said, I'm not going to complain about it, them writing the pattern instead of typing it. It's, not the most professional looking thing, but it works. But I feel like it's pretty inexcusable to have a portion of your video that is impossible to follow, especially when you're telling people that these kits are for beginners. So my thoughts on this kit are that it looks really good from the outside. The listing photos look great. If you go onto their website, their photography is actually really nice and it comes packaged really nicely. But once you get into it, the execution is just really sloppy and honestly just feels unfinished to me. I cringe thinking that I spent $30 on this and that a lot of people are spending their hard-earned money to get a kit where you can't even understand the video instructions, where the pattern is written really confusing, where it's an incorrect size, where the yarn kind of splits and falls apart when you try to sew with it. All of these problems that I mentioned, and I can't imagine a beginner trying to make this. Now, they did have pretty good reviews on the Amazon listing, but I didn't see any specifically for this kit. So maybe some of the other kits are better than this one. I don't know. But when it comes to this specific one, please do not waste your money, even if it is a lot less than what I spent. With the popularity of the Woobles kits, I feel like it was, pretty inevitable that other companies were going to try to emulate them. But I feel like this company in particular, Crochet Box, really needs to go back to the drawing board, clean up some of these mistakes, and do better. I really hate to be mean like this. And like I said, these kits look really nice from the outside, although this photo right here is clearly AI. Come on, guys. But I feel like all of these nice photos and nice presentation are meant to draw you in, but then they're not thinking about all of these details that make it a good experience while you're crocheting. And that's just so frustrating and so disappointing to me. So that is all for today's video. I hope you guys still enjoyed it, even though it was quite different from my normal style. Hopefully next week I'll be back to one of my normal style videos. But I just really wanted to get this information out there to let people know that this kit is definitely not worth your time and money. If you did like today's video, be sure to hit the like button. You can subscribe, stick around, let me know what other kind of videos you want to see next. You can follow me on Instagram. Check out my Etsy shop. You can join my Patreon where I post a bonus video as well as an exclusive pattern once a month. And thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time.